I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'm doing too much. This not even the vibe that I'm. This not even the vibe. Like, it's not the vibe of this video. Let's get into it.
Why does Uber win? Well, because it's rigged in their favor, right?
In 2023, a law professor published a paper with shocking implications. Her research found that tech firms like Uber and Lyft were using secret algorithms to dictate what drivers earn, based on factors we can't even see. She called it algorithmic wage discrimination. And this technology, or revolution, isn't restricted to rideshare companies.
Once that technology is in there, they can raise prices. On a hot summer day, you know, I want a lot of ice cream, I want lemonade. They're running low, they can raise the price.
The price of milk, even your paycheck, the very fabric of our economy, all controlled by invisible and unaccountable algorithms. So about a year ago,
Bro, everybody's scrolling on their phone every day. I mean,
I started reaching out to the companies.
like, how could you not know the algorithm by now? They've been spying on us, bro. Gotta look at the camera. They've been spying on us. Of course they know the algorithm, right?
They largely denied it,
Like, why
only
is
to
that
contradict themselves a few months later.
surprising?
Then I reached out.
Every app that you download, the app asks you to track everything on your phone. That's enough said right there.
Up to the academics. And one of what I found put the legality of this whole tech revolution in question.
They have broken every single local, state, federal law when it comes to labor, when it comes to transportation.
That's Sergio Avedian. He sent me the email.
I used to drive for Uber. So
He's an experienced driver and a senior contributor at the Rideshare Guide.
I mean, most of I made was like $300 in a day, but it fluctuates for sure.
An influential resource for gig economy workers.
We were used to something called a rate card. We were used to getting paid by time and distance.
Then, overnight, the transparency vanished, replaced by a secret algorithm that takes into account potentially hundreds of different variables. They called it upfront pricing. Uber's losses turned to profits around that same time. Coincidence? I don't know. Lyft followed suit, and now they claim they're on the path to profitability.
The algorithms are set up in a way to charge the rider as much as it's possible and to pay the driver as little as possible.
Facts.
A lot of drivers feel Uber and Lyft are paying different.
I've accepted like a $40 ride, and my driver tell me that they pay like $80, like $90. Like $50 ride, my passenger, my customer telling me they pay $100. I'm getting paid $50 for the ride. That's like, yo, like, you feel me? And the whole time, the rider probably think all that money going to my pockets, and it's not.
Wages for the same rides. But we don't really know because the companies, they aren't talking.
We're doing a very simple thing. We're picking up people point A to dropping off point B. I shouldn't make less money than the next guy. I should not. But because it's not regulated, because we don't have rate cards, because we don't know what we're going to make, trip to trip, it's demoralizing, it's upsetting.
So with Sergio's help, we decided to test it. We called 7 experienced drivers to a high-traffic area in Los Angeles with the sole purpose of testing if rideshare companies are paying different rates for the same rides. At the start, each driver will activate their screen capture software, open up the app, and place their phones on the table. Why the table? Sergio has done similar experiments, and the rate disparities were blamed on location differences. When the experiments are done, the drivers will send their screen recording to Sergio's team, who will then sync and analyze the fares.
Hey, shout out to whoever put this video together. Good content.
And then we're going to see what's really going on.
He's getting paid $1 more if he goes there, according to the map, and nobody else is. Nobody else is seeing that dollar surge.
We found that Uber offered the same rides 46 times to multiple drivers. 63% of the time, one of the drivers was offered a bit less money for the exact same ride.
They want to make few pennies difference, and few pennies on 2.7 billion trips a quarter, which is from the last earnings report, is millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Lyft was even worse. The price gap wasn't just a little off, it was a lot off. We saw differences of up to $3 to $4 after bonuses. And drivers don't know why one person gets a bonus and another doesn't.
Well, that adds up like on 30 trips at $10 a day. That's $300 a month. Why should I get paid less $300 a month than the other guy?
I contacted Uber and Lyft to see how they would calculate fares. Lyft, well, they never responded. Uber directed me to a blog post. When I explained the experiment's results, they replied by copying and pasting a portion of that same blog post. The section outlines different reasons drivers could see different fares. But we controlled for everything that we could. We called the drivers to the same space, placed their phones inches apart, had drivers monitoring incoming promotions, and constantly refreshing their screen. The only thing we didn't account for was any secret test Uber could have been running at the time, which we couldn't because the fare algorithm is secret and the test is secret. There's a whole lot of questions here, like mainly, is this legal? And there's no laws against algorithmic wage discrimination. That article I mentioned at the start suggests that opaque algorithms can easily facilitate violations of anti-discrimination laws. Uber denies this, but their own research reveals a glaring disparity. Women drivers earn 7% less than men, potentially due to algorithmic wage setting.
Whoa.
But there's an argument that the entire business model is illegal.
From our perspective, Uber's and Lyft's business model is based on control without responsibility.
That's David Seligman. He's the executive director of Towards Justice, a legal nonprofit that defends workers from corporate overreach. In 2022, the organization helped lead a lawsuit on behalf of 3 rideshare drivers.
The lawsuit says if you are not an employer subject to and accountable to your workers under the labor laws, then you are powerful firms that are abusing your power under state antitrust, competition law, and unfair and deceptive acts and practices laws.
David is describing the cognitive dissonance rideshare operators have when classifying drivers. They want to have it both ways. Uber and Lyft classify drivers as independent contractors, not employers, a crucial distinction. As an employee, you're making money for someone else, which means benefits, protections, and a boss who can tell you what time to show up. But as an independent contractor, you're supposedly making money for yourself, with no benefits or protections, but freedom. You're your own boss.
If these drivers are, as you say, independent, then they need to have true economic independence. We allege that the companies have denied them that economic independence, most importantly, by taking away their ability to set prices for themselves.
But right now, Uber and Lyft set prices for riders and wages for drivers to maximize one thing: their own profits. Drivers are left out.
Uber and Lyft are saying we're not one company, right? We're just a platform, and all of our drivers prices.
We heard something similar at our roundtable discussion after the experiment.
If you can set your own prices,
participant want
Actual?
There's a reality where drivers could be actual independent contractors, set their own rates on these platforms, and compete for your business. But that's not our world. Yet.
Yeah, I like that.
Instead, the companies are spending hundreds of millions of dollars rewriting state labor law to reinforce the idea that drivers aren't employees, while using the fine print to handle private challenges.
That's been absolutely essential to Uber's and Lyft's business model. So while they've tried to race to write laws to their benefit, they've also tried to protect themselves from public litigation through the fine print of their contracts and through arbitration clauses.
That's where David's case on behalf of the 3 drivers ended. A superior court sent it to private arbitration. The end result isn't public.
We should also be clear about is just because you're exempt from laws governing, for example, unemployment insurance premiums, that doesn't mean you're exempt from antitrust laws and competition laws.
Federal and state enforcers aren't subject to forced arbitration agreements. They can investigate and bring enforcement actions against these rideshare companies.
It's likely also a violation of state competition law, especially in states like California that prohibit vertical price fixing. So the California Attorney General's office would also be in a prime position to investigate the issue and bring an enforcement action like that one.
How you did that, California?
But this issue of algorithmic pricing stretches beyond rideshare.
We're just at the beginning stages of what I feel is like a battle between the common folk and then that managerial class and upwards.
There's credible reporting that Walmart, Amazon, and McDonald's are all experimenting with the technology. Those companies employ over 3 million people. In July, the FTC announced it was investigating surveillance pricing. That's the practice of companies using complex algorithms and untold data points to offer personalized pricing. The fear is that prices for something like children's Tylenol will suddenly skyrocket across major online stores just because you typed infant fever into Google. Why? Because retailers know you're desperate. The FTC is investigating Walmart, Amazon, and the leading technology vendors. We need to do the same thing, but for wages. The power of these giants lies in their ability to keep everyone, consumers, drivers, regulators, blindfolded. They're backed by billions of dollars worth of sophisticated algorithms and legal gymnastics, leaving us to fight in the dark. Maybe there's an innocent explanation to our fair experiment, but we won't know until the federal government shines a light.
Man, you need to tighten up, Uber. Uber, you need to tighten up.